That was not what I wanted to do. All right, guys. So welcome to our, yes, it's the inauguration 2020, the inauguration 2021 recap. And we're going to talk about gender, history, symbolism, and how today's inauguration will impact women and women of color. All right, so today's panel consists of myself, Africa Allah, proprietor of Distinctive Impression Multimedia Group, home of Playmass.today. My business partner, Tanisha Harrigan of Distinctive Impression Multimedia Group, home of Playmass.today. And DJ Knots from Hip Hop Gives Back, also the host, one part of the program Pause for Applause. So let's jump right into it. The host, what is it that you guys, well, what's the value of today's inauguration from your perspective? Hello?
All right, let's not all speak at once. So, hey guys, this your girl Ted.
Yes. And she dropped. Thank you. That was riveting. Okay, so
that was riveting, wasn't it? Yes, great. I see better Wi-Fi connection. That's what I see from today.
So go ahead and tell us a little bit about, your perspective on the impact of the 2021 inauguration and what that means for women and women of color.
Well, I definitely see we always like to see each other win. And this is definitely a visual win for us as we have a Black woman as Vice President of the United States. So I see it as a win. I see it as inspirational. I see it as a you can and you will type moment. And I look forward to seeing a lot more Black women do their thing in the United States. Even though we lead in quite a few positive areas, like with education and entrepreneurship and things of that sort. So I just see that growing from this point.
Okay. Now, I know that we had this conversation offline at one point, and we talked about all that is the 2021 election and how you're here for something else. Tell us a little bit about that and what does, because you said, this is something visually, but what does it really mean? How does it impact our communities? You talk about women of color and you want to see them thrive, but what does it actually mean? Because we had Obama that was in the White House in 2000 and 2009. And if you ask African Americans across the US, they state that that particular presidency really did nothing for Black people.
Which is true. I think it's more of you being, well, in our communities, women are definitely the backbone of our community, definitely the grassroots level as well. So I think what it is, and when I say like a visual representation of you can and you will, I think it would enable more more of our youth, more of our young people in our communities, and women to work together, to come together more frequently, to change the narrative and on a grassroots level, to change, to say, okay, this, we can be here, we can go here. To see that visually, at least for the next 4 years, would make a big impact in us, which we do already. Like, we lead so much in our communities, but definitely in empowering more of our young people, and our whole community as a whole, our community as a whole.
So you don't think that, all right. Now, in regards to today's ceremony, I think that first of all, Joe Biden's speech was wonderful. It definitely touched me. Seeing Kamala Harris sworn in gave me a certain feeling of hope, and not just hope for myself, but hope for the young ladies that we work with, and women in our communities, especially considering the fact that Ms. Harris, or Vice President Harris, is not only African American, she's also of Asian descent and of Caribbean descent. So that gives immigrants, it gives women of color some type of reassurance that they too are worthy of being a part of the conversation. Now, my other question is, or my other statement is, how will this really impact the way women are treated in the workplace? Because we've known for years women have always been second-rate citizens in the workplace. We've had to work twice as hard, sometimes even 5 times as hard, in order to get the same respect that a man gets. And we still, even in high positions, are underpaid. Do you think that the vice presidency will impact changes in corporate America?
Short answer is no.
Well, we're not a little long. It's supposed to be a conversation, so talk to me.
Right. Yeah. The reason why I'm starting out with the short answer saying no is that we gotta realize that change happens from within. So if you have corporations that already have a majority white male base leadership, it is still going to be hard. That's first of all, something like that is not going to change overnight. We've known since the civil rights of having all people considered equal. It's not an overnight thing. That's why there are more Black women, women of color, who are going into entrepreneurship, because there is no pathway, no gateway in all of corporate America for us. So to say if that's going to make a change, no, because the government, believe it or not, don't run these corporations, these companies. If not, these companies or corporations run the government. So yeah, so we've had a whole situation in from 2019 to 2020 with the let's be more inclusive, let's add more people of color on our boards and high levels. If you want to look at what happened in the last 2 years, has that happened? To what degree? Not really. And we're still looking and asking for that. So I think what can change is the ask, or the looking for, and more of, you know what, we'll do it ourselves, and we create it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually moving faster than waiting for a corporation to see the whole value of a woman, not and and also to see a whole value of a Black woman.
Right. And I concur. There are, and you hit the nail on the head when you talked about the fact that in the last few years we've seen more and more female entrepreneurs and women of color going and starting their own businesses because the opportunities are not available. And even if the opportunities are available, it's harder for one, a woman, and then two, a woman of color, to even to even be a part of the conversation or be taken serious without sexual innuendos and other things, and just basic racism and bigotry. And that's unfortunate. But yes, we started this in 2005, 2006. And at that time we were in spaces where everyone in the room were male and white. And it took a lot of time and consistency for us to be taken serious. Because I remember a few times people asking me if I needed to find the housekeeping department, or they were directing me. This is hilarious now, but they were directing me to the wait staff area, and I'm like, no, I'm here for the conference. And wow. I like, those are things that happen, and like you don't really think of it afterwards. After having a great day and asking the right questions and having conversations that matter, you don't think of that, right? But when you look at it in hindsight, and you're like, they tried to send me to the kitchen.
Well, aren't you here to help? You here to help that company evolve and grow and profit, and get no credit for it. And you get no credit for it.
Well, we never get the credit. But yeah, so those are things that I wanted to look at in regards to this. But outside of the fact that we've just had 4 of the most chaotic years of our lives as Americans, American residents, and the world in itself, because America is supposedly a superpower, and they're supposed to be a role model or a beacon of democracy. And the last 4 years have been a shit show, to say the least.
Right. I just want to say, I feel like the last 4 years are just those that more acknowledge of American history as being what was your phrase? A shit show. I think because of one thing, of course, technology and the way that information is shared and things like that, you have a lot more people that have a lot more opportunity to visually see what America has always been. So I say that because I do not want to take away from all the fights and struggles and voices that led up to today, prior to 4 years that we had with this particular leadership. And I know that depending on where you are, who you are, we can list things that still to this day has not been I I don't want to say identified, I guess recognized and taken responsibility for and able and actually fixed to move forward. But yeah, these last 4 years has been a heck of a ride, but I'm pretty sure that it was a better ride than 1963 or 1968.
Right.
Or
Right.
1865.
Well, yeah, well, definitely. But I think it's all right. So let's say that in this time, today's or the last 4 years was something that I don't know, maybe we never really paid attention to what was going on around us.
Not at all. Not at all. Because I can tell you right now, I said to a few people 4 years ago, like what they were still getting the votes in for the 2016 election, and I already knew that person was going to win. I went to bed without having the final count or the final say, and they was like, 10, how can you? I said, how can you be so sure? How do you know? I said, because I think I pay a lot more attention to what goes on in America than a lot of other people. So I knew that this would be the case, and that was also what we experienced here in this election with too close to call type elections in many of our states, and having to wait as long as we did to have him declared as the official winner. It just shows you that this is, I mean, the term is going around two Americas. You can call it two Americas, but this is the only one America I know.
Right. It's America. It's America.
It's America.
Just because you live in a glass bubble and don't realize that these things are happening around you doesn't mean that this isn't what America is. This is the America that we in the urban communities have been talking about since as long as I can remember. This isn't two different Americas. It's just that the America that we've been seeing finally reach mainstream, and now everybody's like, oh my gosh, this is the America that when I walk down Fifth Avenue, people look at me as if I don't belong, or they cross the street or clutch their bags, male or female. As long as you have a tent, there's a problem because you don't belong. And it's ironic because, I spoke to a relative the other day, and she's a caregiver. And all of the people that she's caring for, they don't look like us.
Okay, that job has never changed.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that,
I know someone that works in the health field, and she has worked closely with dementia and Alzheimer's patients. Right. And of course with those diseases, you lose your memory. You don't have any recollection of who you are, where you are, what you are. But what they can remember is to call you the N-word.
And that was the conversation that my relative and I had. She was like, I was feeding this lady, and 1 minute she was really calm and cool, and then the next minute she's trying to bite me and calling me the N-word consistently. And while I know this woman is sick, I was like, stop right there. But yeah, so the whole concept of two Americas, this is something new to the people that don't look like us.
Right.
Because I'm sure Asians go through it. I'm sure Indians go through it. I'm sure people of different religions go through it. Like, yes, and can I
say this, that when we fight as Black people, when we fight, all of those people win.
You said when we fight as when we fight as African Americans or blacks, everybody across the board, people of color from every ethnicity, they win.
Yes, and gender as well. And what I mean by gender, because I know you brought this in as women and things like that, but if it wasn't for the black numbers, the black
Mhm.
women numbers, and the women's suffrage, um, they would still be suffering as much as they were before.
Yes, and that was another thing. Like I wanted to address the fact that not only are women, but the LGBT community is now like every fight that we fight, like you said, everyone is gaining something from it, and
Hmm.
they're capitalizing off of it, and we still end up at the back of the line, no matter how hard we fight.
Right. We are frontline fighters with back of the line benefits.
That's perfect. That's a perfect analogy right there. And how do we move from that?
I think I know I don't want to sound like someone that's radical, but I think part of I think part of moving from that is centrism, like really focusing on us
Mm,
and working on us and building us, um and becoming a stronger us.
mm. And how do you do that?
A lot of it is a change of mindset, because I think we're still trying. It goes back to what we were saying. We're still trying to break their ceilings as opposed to building our own foundations. So if you have like your elite people, whoever that may be, in particular fields of work or what have you, and they're not at least bringing up more people like them, or at least um enabling other opportunities to arise, because we still have it where I made it, so what have you. But I feel like that has been changing. I'm glad to see that. I see more of us actually encouraging us and supporting each other and working together. But it has to be more of,
Now,
I'm
when
not
you
just
say
on.
when you're saying us, are you saying women or are you saying blacks? Because you need to,
I'm gonna
define
okay.
that.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Black women.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Black women, because I Black women saves any and everything. Historically, it has been shown. Um, Even in our leadership, like we speak of our wonderful civil rights leaders and activists. What is not spoken of too many times is the women that were standing right beside them,
Mm,
the women that were organizing, the women that were communicating, the women that were educating, the women that were feeding them. Like these are all attributes. The women that was financing these things as well. Those are not talked about enough.
yeah, they forget that we work hard and we put people through colleges and we raise the children while you go out there
We
and
wouldn't have a we wouldn't
do.
have a Martin Luther King Day if it wasn't for Coretta Scott King. So yeah.
I 100% agree with you when it comes to those things. Um, but again, all right. So now that we've talked about that, I want to look at the symbolism of today. What
Okay.
does that mean?
I mean, what it means to me is definitely is hope. It means possibility. It means it's like I said before, we can and we did and we can and we will.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a great thing. It's always good to have positive visuals around, and that's definitely something positive for our Black women to see. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an increase of enrollments at the historically Black universities and colleges. That's definitely a win and a plus. Those are cultivating places for our people of color, our Black women, our Black men.
Right.
I see a lot, like I said before, more grassroots effort. We can't say her name enough. Stacey Abrams. Is it Abrams or Adams? I'm sorry if I got that.
Adams, I believe.
Adams, yes, Stacey Adams, and what she did for the state of Georgia. Yeah, so.
All right. Well, yeah. And why do you think there'll be more enrollment in the HBCUs?
Because you have Kamala Harris, she's a
AKA,
Howard. Huh?
And had I pledged, that would have been
You would have been an AKA. All right.
That was the only one that I was interested in.
Well, shout out to Alpha Beta Sigma sorority. Yes.
You guys don't make a noise or something. I was waiting for the.
That you was waiting for the noise. It's not a noise. It's a call.
Like what? To whom? Yeah.
You better stop. You gonna have all these people coming after you like you didn't tell me this. Maybe somebody will make you honorary.
Right. Okay.
Maybe I know there's a chapter everywhere where you are. So
yeah. It's
still possible.
Yeah. Clutch my pearls.
Clutching your pearls.
Clutch my pearls and wear my white gloves. Hell yeah.
You were serious, huh?
Oh, come on. I grew up having tea parties. I know about that life.
Okay. Well, anybody out there listening, you need to recruit this young lady here. She'd definitely be an asset to any organization, any sorority.
Yeah, but I can't step though.
That's not all we do.
I just want y'all to know.
All right, now you sounding like them. They're only good for a show. They're only good for a show.
No, but if we wow. Wow. Okay. A Black Zeta just told me that she's not really fond of the administration. She was actually for Trump. That's interesting. I would have loved for her to come on and share that one with us.
Of course, it's always good to get different perspectives. You got to remember too, like he did get a good amount of votes from America. Whatever his stance is, that's one thing. But I like to have what we call like fact-based educational conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Informational. So not because not because he looks good in the color orange, but more of like why you voted for him.
Wow. Yeah.
And we gotta make sure that this election is not just a symbol type election, but an election with actions and responsibility and accountability.
That's what I wanted to address. Actions and accountability. It's great to have a symbol of hope and to be a beacon of light and all of these other things that we say. And yes, we have people that we assume are more humane because they speak more eloquently than their predecessor. But are you going to walk the walk? Are you going to actually? Are you going to make the hard decisions when another Black woman, child, or man is shot down by the hands of the police? Are you going to demonize people when they decide to stand up for themselves and be heard so that laws can be passed that can protect them? You know, um, are you going to side with the riffraff when they make outlandish statements against the same people that are fighting for their lives on a daily basis? Are you going to ostracize people because they don't think or believe in the same things? And in saying that, I'm saying that, those people that are what is it, the far left or the far right, whatever direction they're going, they're far. Are we going to ostracize them as well? Because we do have this thing called freedom of speech, and as long as your freedom of speech or doesn't cause me immediate harm, then you have a right to feel and think whatever it is that you feel and think, just as long as you don't bring that my way. Because I'm on some Toby shit. I will,
Try me, try Jesus, but don't try me.
hell yeah. See, I love people that understand music. They don't understand. Yo, yeah,
Music is powerful. And with saying music is powerful, words are powerful too.
right.
So, what I think about freedom of speech, but it's okay. So the crazy thing about freedom of speech is it's still someone else telling you what you can and cannot say. Right. So, okay, I can say the sky is blue, but technically it's not blue because of, then you have scientists to come and tell me the sky is not technically blue. It's just a reflection of the ocean and, such and such, such and such. So, I think when we talk about freedom of speech, you have like all these different levels when it comes to that. You have like what you can say in your home, and then even that you can't say much. What you can say in school, what you can say, and you can't do and say much in school because it's not your institution, it's not your school. So
Right.
you're gonna have somebody regulating that. What you can say at your job or where you work, and then that's also regulated by the company in which you work. What you say in any environment, like you don't have the freedom to yell fire in the movie theater.
Right.
You do not have, that causes this, that causes panic. So it's I would like to study that amendment a little more, because when it was pretty much created, we didn't have the tools and devices and the all of the type of speech that we have now. Because remember, the only speech that was allowed back then was white male speech. So so it's ironic that we continue to quote and hold certain amendments to task when and how they created did not have everyone today in mind.
I totally agree. Wow. And that's interesting too. So is freedom of speech really free for, and that goes back to Camilla being in office, is freedom of speech really freedom of speech for everybody? And is there, should we revisit some of these amendments and or laws?
I think, yeah, of course. And I think they're revisited each and every day, depending on where you are or what you're doing. I cannot stress enough um, at the local level. Like that's where changes are truly made. That's where they're made, and that's where they work their way up. I'm excited to see the development of the Biden-Harris cabinet. Their cabinet is filled with amazing people, but be mindful that these people are coming from lower level office, local or lower level office. That now those seats need to be filled, and those batons need to be passed. So who are we looking to take that up on our levels?
Who are we looking to say? Oh, because they're rising up. Um,
Right.
is there a constant flow of leadership and or development of new leaders? And if so, who are those? Who are the people to watch?
Right. I think there are a part of them are coming out of the fire.
Mm,
Um there's some key people that's coming out of the Black Lives Matter movement,
mm,
are coming out of certain churches, like saying like, okay, enough is enough, are coming out of institutions like incarceration and inferior education, low quality environmental coming out, so we get our leaders we get our leadership first through fire. Like we don't have it where, what, this is doing good, this is doing great, but we can improve. We get them like, this is a mess. Like we have to fix
yeah, well, yeah. But no,
this is a
but if you have to first see you first have to see the problem in order to come up with a solution, right?
yes, but this is the thing is these are the same problems. There's not one area of in which Black people had the opportunity to improve. We did not improve in housing. We did not improve in wealth. We did not improve in education. And what I mean by improving education, yes, Black women are the biggest or the highest educated people in America. But guess who got the biggest loan debt? Student loan debt.
What?
Hello, so do we do. So you're where you're winning. Like your degrees is gonna pay your rent. Is gonna erase that debt.
Right, right. And you make a valid point when it comes to that. Like, where are
Yeah.
you winning?
Like the way that the system is set up, it's like you win to lose.
Hmm. So you accomplish this great feat. You get this degree, you have these things, and this isn't just in general, because like it happens over and over again, and you hear the stories of people, and you do all of these things, and you do everything that you think that you're told is right, and then you end up with debt. You end up as a
That's
middle person.
that health. And when I mean by health, holistic health, like mental health,
But stress.
physical health, emotional health, like the traumas that we endure just to make it. Like it's just like I said, is we're um we're in a place where there's never a time where you can say, okay, all is well, but we can do better and we can improve. We're always in a place where this is a mess and we got to fix this.
Right. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is Joe Biden's speech. Did you have an opportunity to listen to Joe Biden's speech? And do you want to weigh in on any of the things that he said? And keep in mind, Joe Biden is a 78-year-old white male. I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, so,
Oh, um, I'm not okay. So I'm both ways. I'm a, I'm not necessarily a wait and see type of person, but I will pay attention.
mm,
But that would not like stop whatever I'm doing or my actions because I'm waiting to see what they are going to do. So my weigh in is let's see it happen.
oh, okay. Well, Joe Biden's inauguration speech in full. We will write an American story of hope. That that is the takeaway. We will write an American story of hope. Now you know I'm 100% about the culture and telling the story of us. Do you think, well, I guess with Kamala Harris as the VP of the United States, that we will finally be included in the story, but how will that story be depicted?
It depends on who's writing it. If we're still gonna have white males, older white males write these or allow certain stories to make it through, then we're not going to be depicted the way that we should be depicted. So if we have more control of the narrative and the writing and the storytelling, I think we'll be in a good position. But if you still have a the I had a conversation with a friend of mine, and he was like, "What do you mean you have?" And he was naming like all the news anchors, like that's on CNN and on MSNBC
Yeah, but
and
who are the people? Who are the
thank you. I said, okay, let's
journalists
take
that
this up.
for the stories?
Africa, exactly. I said, let's take this up. Who's executive producing it? Who's allowing it? Who's owning the medium? Who's owning that medium? Okay. So those are the faces, but those are not the voices.
I really wish that, earlier this, no, well, not this year, in 2020, I, the George Floyd case sparked a lot of unrest and gave us this window into humanity, right? And at that point, I was frustrated because I felt like we needed to really talk about who owns the media, and we talk about black media, right?
Mm-hmm.
But black media isn't necessarily black media. And you when you said it, you said the exact same thing, and it's like this reoccurring theme. Like, we have to own our own platforms. Even this, right now we're streaming on a platform through multiple platforms or to multiple platforms, but we
Right.
have to do that because we don't have the financial we don't have the capital to go live on our platform and everybody tune in.
Right.
So we have to stream through a YouTube or a Periscope or whatever it is to get people to pay attention.
Correct.
Um, I just want to say this was a great introduction conversation to the next 100 days. And as we continue on, I would like us to once a week come back and have a conversation about what's changing, what we need done, and how we are going to move forward. I invite all female participants and viewers to Connect with us, leave your comments. Let's continue the conversation throughout the day. We are going to have a series of impromptu conversations over the course of the day, talking about the inauguration. I think we're going to put up now the 2021 presidential inauguration speech from Joe Biden. You can check that out. It's in its entirety on our website. You can visit goodwifi.party, which is our streaming platform here on playmass.today, a subsidiary of Distinctive Impression Multimedia Group out of New York City. So, with that said, Ten, do you have anything that you would like to leave with our viewers?
First off, I would like to leave our viewers with the understanding that we are in a better place. Don't get 10 wrong. We are in a better place. I definitely wouldn't want to be in the same place in 1963, 1968. But as we talked about Black women, and I say this, it's okay to be, we're always called to be strong, and we need support. We need help. This is also a call for our Black men. Allow us to be vulnerable, allow us to be soft, allow us to have a moment that we're not strong. That only creates, allow us to rest. It only allow us to be better. And then definitely take call to action for all those that are on the ground level, grassroots level. Take leadership in your own communities. Be that voice there. And enact what would you do in the next 100 days? I know we're looking for Biden and Harris to do something in the next 100 days. Think about what you can do or what you would like to do within the next 100 days to better your community and or family situations.
Okay. All right. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us for the conversation. And we will continue the conversation next week right here on goodwifi.party. Stay connected.